Hey everybody, it's Brooke with the Buttered Home and welcome to my messy kitchen. Today we have a very special treat for you. Today we are showing you how to make homemade cranberry sauce. And today we're going to be using our trusty electric pressure cooker. So we're going to pan overhead now and show you how all this glorious homemade cranberry sauce goodness comes together in a really simple and easy way.
Okay, so what we have here is one 12-ounce bag of fresh cranberries. I have washed them and picked through them, made sure there were not any stems, and drained them and placed them in the inner liner of my pot for my electric pressure cooker. You want to make sure that you wash them. Sometimes there might be stems in there, but oftentimes I don't find very many. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add in 1 cup of granulated white sugar. Now you can use brown sugar or you can use sugar in the raw. It really doesn't matter. If you're wondering today why this video is so weird, I had all kind of trouble for some strange reason. I unhooked my microphone cord, so I'm having a voice over after the fact. And now, for some strange reason, whenever I was videoing, it decided to video in slow-mo. It's a really cool effect, but gosh, what a pain in my side. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the slow motion graphics. So if this video is choppy, it's just simply because I'm cutting out some of it because it did slow it down a lot. And you don't want to just see me move in slow motion the whole time. But we just stir that sugar in, and those cranberries are beautiful. See how it just sticks to them? Good frosted cranberries, just such a pretty thing. So we're using fresh orange juice. You can use store-bought, but I like to use fresh because we have to use some peel in here so that we can get that really nice flavor from the peel of the orange infused in the cranberries. And I just take a couple of oranges and just juice them, and then take the peel and just cut me off a strip and throw it in. It really adds a lot to it. Next, we'll take that freshly squeezed orange juice or store-bought orange juice, whatever you have on hand, and we will measure out 1/4 of a cup of it, and we will place it inside with the cranberries. I find it real easy to do this. I always have oranges on hand this time of year, and it really adds something special to the sauce. Now, we're also going to add in 1/4 of a cup of water. Anytime you are cooking with your electric pressure cooker, you want to be sure that you add water. The reason why you don't want to rely solely on the orange juice is because a lot of the liquid will cook out in the form of steam and leave you just with like sugar and cause the burn message. Next, we're also going to use a whole cinnamon stick, and we'll fish this guy out after we're done, as well as the orange peel. I like to just toss it in, and it really adds a lot of flavor to the cranberry sauce and gives it some really nice warmth. Now for the secret ingredient is a really good bourbon. We want about 1 tablespoon of really nice bourbon to put in here. You can leave this out, or if you wanted to, you could use probably about 2 tablespoons of pure vanilla extract in its place. Either way is fine. The alcohol cooks off, and you're left with the smoky, wonderful flavor of the bourbon, which really helps get in there and pull out that pectin out of the cranberries themselves and really adds to the whole totality of the experience. I know I sound like a cooking snob, but really it makes it so good just to add that in there. But pure vanilla extract will work just as well. Now for a little bit of something unexpected, we add in just about gosh, maybe an eighth or a fourth of a teaspoon of fresh ground pepper. You really don't need much. A pinch is usually what I tell people, but if you need an accurate measurement, that's probably somewhere between an eighth and a fourth of a teaspoon of ground pepper. This just gives this just enough heat to make it interesting. Everything we put in here is really sweet, so the pepper kind of offsets that sweetness just a bit and gives it just that slight taste of something you can't quite put your finger on. Now we're going to mix everything to combine it, and soon we will turn on the saute function after I throw a few cranberries out on the side and let it come to a soft boil. Okay, now we're going to set it to saute. And this will work just like a hot plate or an eye on your stove. And as a matter of fact, our recipe does show you how to do this two different ways. One with your electric pressure cooker and the other on top of the stove. So if you don't have an electric pressure cooker, you can totally do this on the stove. It just takes just a tiny bit longer and you can't really step away from it to do something else. Truth be known, that's one of the main reasons I love my pressure cooker, is because it allows me to cook multiple things at one time. So we're going to stir that up and let it come to a soft boil. And once that happens, we'll let it boil for about 2 minutes. And we'll take our spoon and just kind of show you how we push some of that fruit and mash it so we get all that good fruit from the inside out. So we will be back with you in just a minute after that starts to happen, so that you can see the full effect. Okay, now we have a soft, just small rolling boil coming. And one thing I want you to notice is when this starts to happen, your fruit will start to kind of crack open. And you'll see the little breaks in the fruit, and you'll be able to tell when you stir it that it's actually gotten lighter and softer. So at this point, what we want to do is we're just going to use our spoon to flow through and take it and push some of the fruit up against the side of the pot. Now, when we do that, we will squish just a little bit and we will push and kind of push that pulp out into the liquid. You'll notice that your fruit volume has gone down and your liquid volume has gone up. This will happen whether you do this with your electric pressure cooker or on the top of the stove. Either way, your liquid will almost double. So we just take the back of our spoon and we just push that fruit up so that we can release that natural fruit pectin from the cranberries and kind of help things along. And I will do it on the back side here so that you can actually see what I'm doing. And you'll notice that pulp just comes out and your liquid will start to almost turn pink. It's really a beautiful thing to watch this transformation happen. Yes, you'll be left with the skins, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in just a few minutes. But see, your liquid has started to turn pink and it's all nice and pretty. So we're just going to help things along by continuing to go through and just push as much as we can up against the sides to release that pulp from the cranberries themselves. Now that we have probably for the most part kind of helped things along, we will turn the unit off. We will turn off the saute function. And then we will, this process, let me back up. This process takes about 2 minutes. We have let it boil for just a minute before we came back so that we could give you the full effect of everything that's going on. But at this point, we've kind of mashed it good enough that we can turn the unit off and then put the lid on and set it for a cook time so that it can finish this process. So I'm just going to take my spoon out, and then I'm going to turn the unit off, and then we will give you some instructions on how to cook it from this point. Okay, so now we've got our lid, and we are going to lock it in place. And I always have trouble with this. Y'all have seen me a million times kind of roll it back and forth. Okay, now we've got it into place and we've locked it into position. So at this point, we want to make sure that our vent is set to sealed. And normally, whenever I lock it into place, it kind of shifts up, but you'll see me pull it just to make sure it won't turn anymore. And it's at about the 11 o'clock position. Most models all work the same way, but if yours is different, you can shoot me a message and we can talk about what model you have. But most of them work this way, whether it's Instant Pot or another brand. So we've got it in the sealed position, and then we just set our cook time for 6 minutes. So we're going to let this guy come to pressure, which shouldn't take very long. Then when the cook time is done, I will turn it off and let it sit for about 5 to 10 minutes for the pressure to naturally release.
Okay, everybody, we're back. We have finished our 6-minute cook time, and I've let the pot sit for maybe about 5-10 minutes just to kind of let some of that pressure naturally release. So we're going to open the vent while we're on camera. Let's hope nothing blows up. So I like to take a long spoon and just kind of open that vent and just make sure. Thankfully, all of the pressure has released and there's none left in there. But you always want to do that with something long, just to be sure. And then I always carefully open the lid because there's a lot of steam and condensation, and that lid, like the metal part of it, is hot. It's very hot, so you will burn yourself. So we have a beautiful, beautiful concoction, and I'm going to try to move the camera while we're live and bend it forward just so you can kind of peek over in there. And let me get my hot pad so that you can see what we've got going on. Everything in here is very hot. So you'll see it has turned, and it has turned into this beautiful, and let me focus the camera here so you can see, this beautiful, beautiful thing, and it's perfect right now, just like it is to me. Now, what you would want to do, at this point, is find that cinnamon stick. And it shouldn't be too terribly hard. There he is right there. So I'm going to try to get him out by himself. There he is right there. I'm going to set him over here to the side and do the same thing with that orange peel. And there it is right there too. So we have fished both of those out. And what I like to do is just leave the lid open, let this sit for about 20 minutes or so, and then I like to put it in a jar and let it finish cooling on the counter before I refrigerate it. So at this point though, we're going to add, my favorite part, and we're going to add about 2 tablespoons of good honey. And we're going to mix that in, and that honey just kind of melts in that hot liquid. Now, like I said, there are a couple of things you can do at this point, and I would do it while it's still rather hot. You can use an immersion blender, and you can kind of go through it and blend all of that up so that you have a more cohesive cranberry sauce. Or you can push this through a sieve if you wanted to. My girls and I kind of like this just a little bit chunky. You know, sometimes if you buy the canned cranberry sauce, you can get the jellied cranberry sauce. And if you run this through like a blender or an immersion blender. That'll be more along the lines of what you get. If you leave it just like it is, this is more of like the home style or the whole berry cranberry sauce. So if you like that, you don't need to do anything else except let this cool a little bit longer and then pop it in a jar and let it finish cooling on the counter. You can just barely put that lid on, just finger tight, and it will kind of seal itself as it cools. Then it will last in the refrigerator for 3 to 4 weeks, just like this. And it doesn't need anything else. The alcohol, I no longer smell the bourbon. It's done its job, and those alcohols have kind of helped everything kind of merge together and cook and turn into this wonderful cranberry sauce. So it may seem like a lot of work, but let's be real, some things that we cook are a lot of work. So you just have to decide if it's something you want to try. And you just have to decide if it's worth it to you for at Thanksgiving for you to say, hey y'all, I made cranberry sauce this year. But I always encourage you to get in the kitchen and try new things like this, especially if you have a pressure cooker that is just collecting dust on the shelf. These things are great for taking recipes like this and making them quick and easy. So we hope that you'll try it and let us know how you like it too. Also, you can add some different flavor components too and actually give this as gifts during the holiday season. I have added some jalapeno peppers to mine to make it just like a hot cranberry sauce, and that's very good. Or you could just add a couple of shakes of like some hot sauce too, and that really makes it something different and beautiful. And using even lemons in the place of oranges, that is a good idea too. It gives it a nice, bright, different type of flavor. So these holidays, my challenge to you is to get in the kitchen, try something new, and try something that your family's never had before and that you've made homemade especially for them. In my mind, I think that's perfect showing of love. Now I'm going to let this finish cooling and I'm going to jar it up and we'll have it ready for Thanksgiving. Y'all be sure that you visit our site at thebutteredhome.com. We would love to see you there. Also, if you're not already, make sure that you're following us on all of our social channels over at Facebook and Instagram. And be sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel and ding that bell so that you can be notified when we drop new videos like this one. Y'all have a wonderful day, and from the buttered home to your home, we love you guys. Bye.